Hi folks, quick video about solar panels. Have you seen the new information out there about roadways being solar panels? Okay, this is all your driveways, your basketball courts, your all paved surfaces everywhere. And they can also warn you, like say if there's a moose in the road up above. They can give you different messages. They can light the road up. They can make it safer. They can warn you of a pending accident or and all of this, and it creates electricity. It's going to be a long time coming. It may be decades. Just like things like, for example, Light Squared was going to make an internet from the spectrum that would have been cheaper for everybody. Okay, the cube is something that could replace all cell towers. It's been out there forever. Tesla invented propulsion. We never should have had gas or oil or all that. Okay, this has all been suppressed to keep the big corporations and their greed in business and you a slave to that. Okay, it is a basic civil right that all roadways be solar. Okay, if every town and every community should have free electricity, okay, these roads will create free electricity. Now, of course, just like with wind, they won't let it happen, the powers that be, until they can tap it, get it into their grid, and they can, you know, charge you for it. So until they could dam the rivers and then charge you for electric, okay, that's what they did. Wind, they forced windmills through people's properties, and then I know I got family members that accompanied from Spain tried to force eminent domain if they wouldn't let the windmills come through. If you guys know about my court case with Obsidian Finance Group, where I stood up to these folks and tried to expose their corruption, which I believe was corruption, they got government land and they got all these solar farms and they got all this free money to build solar farms, and then this money from free money, free grants, free land, free solar credits, and then free sun, and then they sell it back to you by putting it into the grid. Okay, you should be able to have solar energy, you should be able to have hydro energy, wind energy, and it should be free because this comes from Mother Earth. Okay, sure, there'll be a certain amount of things from batteries and from wiring and whatever, but you know, to have $300,000-$400,000 a month electric bills to stay warm and stay cool is ridiculous. Okay, so these solar panel roadways are something that you all should fight for and demand in every state, every county. You know, in your county, you can vote in laws. So you could vote in a law just for your county that it has to be. Okay, all the big pavements of schools. Think about all the pavements out there that are baking. Solar roadways, I think it's solarroadways.com, but you, and I'm not invested or nothing to do with the company, but I know that people spend a massive amount of time, money, and energy creating money to pay utility bill. So whether you need heating or cooling, right? And also gas and oil, right? If we have electric cars and they could be charged by solar panel roadways, we're no longer a slave to the system because most of your paycheck goes to utilities, right? Keeping warm and running your car. So gas and oil, keeping warm or keeping cool, there you go, right? It's a massive amount. So they can't, in order to keep you in the system, they have to keep you on the grid. Okay, there shouldn't be cell towers. There shouldn't be gas and oil. There shouldn't be coal. There shouldn't be all this digging and mess and wrecking Mother Earth, okay? It is a basic civil right and human right for all roadways to be solar panels. These are, they have no trees anyway. We're on them all the time. You know, it's this surface that's collecting sun all the time. It makes absolute no sense at all for this not to be used as a solar panel. And especially when you can, you know, be warned of an animal on the road. I know two wonderful people that were in my life that were killed by hitting a moose. You know, and if they would have known, it would have just said something right there on the road. Apparently these things can do all kinds of digital stuff too. So it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing invention, and it is a basic human right. I know that I'm going to try. If you want to donate to Bringing Back Goddess Church, I'm Reverend Crystal Cox, and I'm definitely, we're going to build domes, and we're going to build, you know, temples and healing centers, and hopefully would have the money to be able to do any sort of driveways or any paved surfaces with these solar panels. I think everybody who can do it should do it, and then I think you should petition all your local, state, federal governments and all your, you know, whatever you need to petition to have these. because the basics of people need, in order to spend more time with their family, in order to be healthy, to have more fun, to be not in fear and in bad suppressive energy, and be joyful in their frequency raised and a higher vibration, they need to have less bills, okay? The energy bills is huge. Gas and oil is huge. You know, people dying because they can't afford propane, or they can't afford gas, or they can't afford electricity and stay warm. I know several people that I know people that have froze to death over the last few years. You know, or people die of heat exhaustion when it should be free. Sun, you know, wind. These big corporations, they say, wait a minute, yeah, that's all wonderful, but let's wait until we can get it back into the grid and then we can charge you. Just like pharmaceutical companies, right? They take part of an herb and whatever they can patent, and now they're, of course, doing it with marijuana and whatever part they can patent, then they sell it back to you, when the natural source is better. Paying for the technology, okay. You know, paying for the roadways, paying for taxes in your local area for the roadways, okay, but that would be a massive amount less. Plus, you know, you could do it as like a co-op. A co-op owns this company that builds these roads, and then it goes back into your local electric co-op. You know, I mean, it is just ridiculous that electricity from water, you know, they dam up the waters, they make electricities. Now we got wind, and we also got solar, but they're putting it back into the grid, and then they're selling you just as much as they was for electricity before. Okay, electricity should be free. Propulsion was Tesla's invention, should be free. The Searle generator, I'm not sure what the cost is of that now, or even if they've allowed it in. I think they jailed that guy for a long time. But that should be, I think they're about this big, and they can do 2 houses for a lifetime, and they're like a magnetic thing. I think Tesla had a magnetic motor car. I've watched videos on a magnetic motorcycle in Japan. I've seen a car online, I think it's in India, that runs on air. And so we don't really need all of this stuff. It strips Mother Earth, it mines Mother Earth, it does all this crazy horrible things, causes dust and disease, and yeah, it creates jobs, but so will these other things. Okay? And then when they go to be like, oh, well, clean energy, and so then they give them credits, you know, like tax credits and stuff for doing clean energy. But they don't do that until they can control it. Okay, and now they're trying to tax you if you have a solar panel on your house, okay? So you're not allowed to, in some places you're not allowed to have gardens. You're not allowed to use solar or wind or water. Excuse me? I mean, the Native Americans kind of owned it before we got here, right? Kind of had the water rights, had the, you know, maybe the sun. No, who owns the sun's rights, you know? And you think about terms like my example earlier, which was like spectrum, you know, like light squared, the internet, the FCC stuff. That's air, right? They capture it, then they sell it to you as a spectrum. And people use that, you know, that's for phones and radios and internet and all of that. And it's just something that they get out of the air, and then they sell it back to you, and then they keep you a slave to them, which basically keeps you from owning your own power, keeps you in fear because you got to pay bills. Survival, the future, college, then you got bills to pay for going to college, and then you get out of college and there's no jobs. When basically, if you just own your own mind and pray and work with your angels and work in the new energy frequency that's coming in and create money and create jobs from what you love. Okay? And also besides that, create the need for less money. If we can get around for free, if energy is free, and we're growing things locally, and we're growing more gardens, and then why do we don't really necessarily need the system. We're living happier lives, we're more productive, and then the frequency raises. The vibration and frequency of Mother Earth raises, the consciousness raises, of all the people, all the plants of Mother Earth, and we're vibrating high, and this is the goal. Okay? And it is massively important that we as a people don't let local governments and the government as a whole and whatever, whoever the powers that be, these big corporations and corporate greed, shut down the idea of everywhere having solar roadways until they can then tap into it. This should be grassroots. The community should get in on this right now, demand it, vote it in their communities, own it in their communities, and it's a basic right. It's a basic independence. You're not independent. You're not dependent on the grid and the whole rest of the world. You know, and you got your local milk, your local dairy farms, your local cheese, your local wines, your local organics. We got all of that here in Port Townsend, where I'm at, right? Imagine if we had, you know, the electricity was in the grid itself, right? And then we had propulsion. We wouldn't need anything outside of here at all. You know, a way to purify the water, a way to have electricity. You know, there's plenty of people who do organic farms. And really you can do, you know, wool, and you can do certain materials and things. You know, it is key to have solar roadways, solar driveways, solar parkways. It is a really, really big deal. And then it was also talking about, you know, like game courts. I mean, how cool is that? Like, oh, basketball court, okay, it changes the shape of that. You want it to be a different court, it changes the shape of that. It's also kind of digital and modern. And it can give you messages if something's in the road. I mean, Google this stuff, folks. Read it. This is amazing. So I just wanted to tell you, I saw these videos last week, and I think it's a basic human right and civil right, and will free up society. It's a clean energy. It's just wonderful. So do this in your local towns. Start a fundraiser, start a co-op, petition your local council. There's just no reason at all not to do this. None. Plus, pavement is horrifying. When they pour blacktop, I get so sick. It's toxic. All right, folks. God bless you all.